Good day, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and here we talk about food photography. If that's something that you're interested in, you may want to hit the subscribe button. If you want to, no pressure from me. Today I'm answering a question that I've gotten a few times over the last couple months. What would I need to get started with food photography today? I'll see you after the intro. As you can see, I'm in my new office/studio space, and I'm finally set to get ready to being back to making more regular videos on a more regular basis. This setup that I have here now is it's a much more controlled environment than my last space, so I'm hoping to get a much better sound quality out of all the soft surfaces. So I'm looking forward to making these videos again. So this is a question I've gotten a few times over the last couple months, and the last time someone asked it, I realized that everyone I've answered this question to so far has gotten a slightly different answer from me. So I've created this video as a definitive answer to what you need to get started with food photography. Not all of this is a must, but as your skill progresses, the items in this list will help you immensely. First things first, you'll need a camera. I'm sure you've heard this saying, the best camera to use is the one you have with you. For a lot of us, that may still be a smartphone. And if a smartphone is what you want to use, the rest of the items on this list will still be helpful, although may not be as necessary. Smartphones these days take great photos, and while you likely couldn't use them for advertising work or magazines, you could get away with a smartphone for your food blog and social media. When shopping for a camera, there's no single best type of camera for food photography, but both the DSLR and the mirrorless cameras are great choices due to their interchangeable lens systems. It's that system that allows us to get the beautiful, soft, out-of-focus areas in food photography, referred to as bokeh. DSLR cameras are generally less expensive than mirrorless cameras, with similar features that you can get really great deals on. The same applies to lenses. Since most lenses can outlast cameras in terms of lifespan, you can get some good lenses on the cheap. So now, one of the drawbacks of the DSLR camera is the emergence and popularity of mirrorless cameras. This is mostly why you can get a great deal on a new or used DSLR. Virtually all camera companies are moving away from the DSLRs to focus on producing these smaller, lighter versions that are mirrorless cameras. The last major release of a DSLR camera was in 2020, and it's possible you won't be seeing any more DSLRs produced by the big camera companies anyway. Even so, a DSLR camera, they've got a pretty good lifespan and they get amazing photos. You'd be hard-pressed to distinguish a DSLR and a mirrorless photo with similar specs side by side. With all that said though, mirrorless cameras are the future for a few reasons. They're generally smaller and lighter than DSLRs. They have virtually eliminated the need for the mechanical shutter. The electronic viewfinder, which is what you see when you look through the camera, that lets you see the effects of lighting changes before taking the photo, resulting in a more accurate representation of what you saw. While they're pricier than DSLR, they also offer amazing image quality, and they now are supported by a growing crop of lenses designed for mirrorless cameras. Back when the first mirrorless cameras came out, the lenses you had available to you were quite limited, and you were forced to use adapters in some instances to fit your older lenses. There are several other factors to consider when choosing a camera, too many to cover here, to be honest, but I'll leave a link to a couple of videos down below that will give you enough information to make the right decision for yourself. Now that you have the camera you need, the next decision will be what lens do you pair with it. If you're moving up from your smartphone into one of the cameras we just finished discussing, you're going to need a lens for that camera. Prime lens, one with a fixed focal length, around 50mm, is a good option for beginners. This focal length is close to what the human eye sees, so it creates natural looking images. If you have a little more room in your budget, you might want to go for a macro lens, anywhere from 90mm to 105mm. This is the Nikon 105 micro lens, which I use for 90% of my images. If you're looking for versatility though, another great lens is the 24-70, but also generally the most expensive of the three. The best lens for you will depend on your budget, your shooting style, and the types of food photos that you want to take. If you would like to go deeper on lenses for food photography, here's a video that does just that. So next up is the tripod. And a tripod will help you keep your camera steady, especially when you're using slower shutter speeds, which can happen when you're shooting in low light. to get sharper images. The tripod is also a handy way to keep your camera fixed in a specific position while you're working on setting up a scene. Allowed you to make the changes without having to find that same spot you were holding your camera in prior. You can easily find some inexpensive tripods, and that may be great for starting out, but you'll want to upgrade sooner rather than later. Tripods are one of those items where spending the money really makes a difference. Now this may seem like an obvious one, but you'll need to decide on what light you're going to use. Most of us, when we're getting started with food photography, are likely going to use just natural light coming from a window or even shooting outdoors. That's what I did for years, and the best part about it was free. But if you have the time and patience to learn, there are some other options. Speed lights or flashes can be bounced off a wall or ceiling or even through a diffuser to create soft light. Soft boxes, those big square light boxes, diffuse the light from a strobe or from a continuous light source, which creates even more softer, more flattering light. Even some inexpensive LED panels can work as good as a good light source for food photography. Diffusers and reflectors both work to help manage and shape light. The diffuser is designed to soften light, especially if you're using hard light such as sunlight. The diffuser helps to reduce harsh shadows and create even more lighting on your food. You can even use a white sheet or a fabric, or you can simply buy a diffuser online. The reflector reflects or bounces light, whether that's onto your background or onto your food itself, which could help brighten shadows and add a little extra sparkle. They are a great way to add a little extra light without having to actually buy one or set one up. You can buy a reflector online as well. They usually come in a set with a diffuser, but the truth is, I've never bought one. I use a piece of white foam core, and if I want a little more light, I just wrap my foam core in aluminum foil. It works great, and it's really cheap. You also want to make sure that you're going to put some thought into your backgrounds and your surfaces. You can use almost anything for a backdrop, from fabric to wood to vinyl or even painted canvas. They can all work well. I've made several types of surfaces, and I've also purchased backdrops such as these, which allow me vast amounts of freedom to create all kinds of different scenes. The important thing is to choose a backdrop that complements your food and doesn't distract from it. The biggest piece of advice I would give you is to make sure your surfaces are clean. Stains can really be an eyesore when you get your photo back onto your computer. Last up is the editing software. Basic editing software can help you improve your photos by cropping, adjusting exposure, and even fixing color sometimes. There are lots of free versions and several inexpensive versions available online. If you're using just your smartphone, there are several free apps that do an amazing job of making your photos pop. And while there is a learning curve for editing your photos, it is a step in the process of creating stunning images that allow you to put your unique perspective into your image. If I were getting started with food photography today, this is the list I would start to assemble and learn with. Like any skill, photography takes practice, lots of practice. The more you shoot, the more you'll understand, and the better you'll be. Do you need everything on this list to get started? Of course not, although the camera is, kind of a must. But as you progress in your skill, these are the things that will help you get better and better images. Have I forgotten anything on this list? If so, let me know in the comments down below. So I hope you got something out of the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I'd appreciate you smacking the like button before you go. And if you'd like to subscribe for more food photography content, you're more than welcome to join in. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.